July financials were not available for our meeting. They went to the auditor and didn't come out of the auditor in time for us to see them. June operational expenses, we do have that. We did exceed, operational expenses exceeded income by about $6,200. So inflation kind of found us. Most of that was food and fuel cost. Not a disaster. We're still on budget, and I think have generated a little over $320,000 worth of cash for 2022. So it's not a disaster, but we need to keep watching and see where we are now. With fuel dropping, that's going to help quite a bit. Our food service revenue was down slightly, so we hope to get some more folks going to the lodge and eating, but we all understand what inflation is doing to folks, and they're having to cut back in places. So we're going to be watching the food service budgets and revenue and expenses and do what we can to stay whole on the budget. We were down in June with new member fee revenue was about $26,000 less than budget. I think that's coming back up in July. We also have in July that's going to help a sale of some land. So I think for the most part June was not normal, and I think we're going to come back to generating cash in July and the rest of the year. All of our accounts are fully funded except the employee insurance fund was off a few $100s from being at its $80,000 level. Any questions on the finances and what we're doing? So I will say that Andy and his team are doing everything they can to save what they can, but obviously we have to have fuel to mow and move and dump trucks and things like that. So there's some things we just have to keep doing, and we bite the bullet. We do have an expenditure request. Do you want to do that now? We'll let Chad get settled on the condo control, or how you want to do that?
It's on the agenda later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we did approve a 2-year contract along with an installation fee for a total expense of $27,099 for the condo control software to help manage club operations. Just so you know what we did, and then we'll let so it is a 2-year commitment at $13,050 a year. And then on top of that, in 2022, we'll have a $999 installation fee. So that's where we came up with the $27,099, but only $14,049 will come out in 2022. Management committee is suggesting that the club transfer, we can run operations on that $999. That'd be operational. And then we transfer $13,050 in 2022 from the capital fund to cover the 2022 expense. And then the 2023 expense will be included in our operating budget, since this was not budgeted for. So
Rex, you're asking for this money. Do we have any idea what kind of savings it's going to cost us operationally?
I think we've got a presentation coming on that. We are still working through savings. The management committee right now is looking more at the communication and the club service aspect, although we do believe there will be savings. We think the communication, being able to members to use an app to let visitors in, the easier communication with, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but anyway, we are going at it less on a cost savings and more on a communication and member services. I do believe that there will be savings, especially in the package and in the security area, but that's not the main goal. With that, taken. So I guess we'll hold that till your presentation. We just it was a pretty light meeting, other than the condo control. So we had Steve reported on the golf course where things are going well. The rains have came back, and that helps. We're getting some tree removal quotes, and we'll have some trees removed, basically mostly for safety and disease control. We're selecting a contractor for that. Marty reported that work on the first phase of the lodge electrical improvements is near completion. In the planning process for the next phase, which is switch over from overhead to underground service for lodge and pool and dumpster. There may be some effect of parking and traffic flows in the lodge area due to the positioning of the electrical equipment, and they're looking into that. We need to get our plan finalized. We see it as a positive, not a negative. So look forward to some more information on that as we go. And JJ reported that lodge and clubhouse operations are doing well. We're very pleased and proud of the staff at food service at the clubhouse and at the lodge. Comedy night was very successful and added about $1,500 to our revenue. So we hope that folks keep coming out and patronizing the clubhouse and the lodge, and that helps all of our operational budgets. I'm going to let Andy cover pretty much everything else, the RFID and a lot of the other things that are his. So any questions for management committee? So this was my last meeting. As of August 31, I'll be leaving the hills, and I just want to thank all of you for your service and your support and everything that you do. And I want to thank membership as well. It's been a good ride, and I'm going to miss it.
Thank you, Rex.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Rex.
Nice job. Mr. Freeman? Oh,
all right.
sorry.
Good evening,
Hi, gang.
everybody. Can you hear me?
Standing in the parking lot. Wait.
Yeah.
Can everybody hear me all right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So look at our current projects that we've got going on. Rex had mentioned about the lodge electrical that Marty reported on. We had an update meeting to review the lodge electrical drawings and the timeline with the contractor, who is Area Electric. That's going to provide some cost estimates and timeline availability by this Friday for us to review. And then the next scheduled meeting is August 30th or August 31st, just to discuss greater details into the lodge electrical. That project is currently on schedule, and we're very happy to report that this was a much needed improvement to the lodge. On a different note, the lodge roof project. The lodge roof is showing some signs of wear, and the maintenance team is aware of the issues. And we're in the beginning stages of this project, setting up the scope and budgets for this project. Asphalt patching. To date, the maintenance team has installed 174 tons of asphalt patching material around the hills. And they've included areas such as, scrolling down through my notes, forgive me here, Chickasaw, Lower Mohican, can't say that very well, Nucata Lane, Seneca Lane, and Wolverine, as well as Upper and Lower Fox. And the budget for the asphalt patching for our maintenance team is around 30 grand. We're about halfway to that point right now with our current tonnage. On other notes, the RFID project. So members' decals have been available down at the security building for some time now, and they're still making appointments in regards to members getting their decals go ahead and installed. The office has gone ahead and processed all the family and guests decals, and they're now available by appointment only with security. So go ahead and get those decals on. It looks like we've got a few punch list items for our contractor for the RFID that he's aware of. And we're looking to go live September 13th, 2022. So that is on a Tuesday. And you thought, well, why are we doing it on a Tuesday? Because Mondays are horrible. So we decided we're going to do it Tuesday after the holiday. So we're looking to go live, and the contractor has to do kind of a switch over at that same day, so the RFID tags don't interfere with our current system. So September 13th.
Question on that, Andy. My tag is working now. Am I?
Yes, there has been some tags that have worked. There's other tags that have not.
At Boar Hill.
Yes.
Fine.
Yeah. Our contractor is working on that. He has a spreadsheet that he has to go through and activate those tags and so forth. So some are working and some are not. So we're still looking into that issue right there. Let's see here. And then we've got also, that's it on RFID project. Any questions on the RFID?
Do we have any updates on weather resistant ones that you guys were looking into for like the outside of the windshields on?
Yes.
Okay.
So I found out from our contractor, we had ordered 50 originally for the outside vehicles, for motorcycles and so forth. He has 25 in. He's still waiting on the other 25, and he does not have a ship date. So we've got half of them in that we ordered, and so we're currently waiting on a ship date from the contractor on those.
Okay.
Any other questions on RFID or asphalt, patching, or Lodge Electrical, Lodge Roof Project?
Nope.
Okay. That is it for my report tonight, but I do have a couple of the Board of Trustees easement waivers that I wanted to go over. And then Linda Lossinger will go ahead and do a motion. So I've got lot 1851, which is Greg Lupo. The lots are joined. SCP has waived its easement rights. A garage is to be constructed in the easement between 1851 and 1852. Board is asked to waive Hideaway Hills easement rights to the easement between lots 1851 and 1852. And then I've got one other one, but I'll wait for a motion from Linda.
You want to do both of them? Well, we'll do one at a time.
You can do one at a time.
So for the easement waiver that Andy just addressed, could there be, I'd like to make a motion to accept that waiver request.
I'll second.
And that's between 1851 and 1852.
Yeah. So motion made by Linda Lonsinger, seconded by Cabot Ray. Any more conversation? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, the next one is lot 1846F and 1847F, De Niro residence. The lots are joined. SCP has waived its easement rights, and the house placement is on 1846F and 1847. So I just need a motion. Everything else is satisfied. Do have well and septic permits as well. And we've already done a site visit and with the member itself and the builder. So we're on schedule for that. So I need a motion from Linda on 1846F and 1847F De Niro.
I'd just like to make a motion to waive the easement. I can't speak well today. To waive our easement rights between 1846F and 1847F.
I'll second.
Motion made by Linda Lonsinger, seconded by Linda Hodge. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
I do have a question. I don't know if this goes to Andy or maybe the Rex. I had a member contact me today about a fairway mower that has been purchased. But it's been sitting in Columbus for like 5 weeks because there was some shipping cost issues. And they were wondering why we can't get that mower here because it's much needed.
Andy, you want to take that or you want me to?
Yeah, I can elaborate on that. So the mower was scheduled to be shipped about 2 weeks ago. And we heard from Baker Equipment, which is out near New Philadelphia area of Ohio, that they could ship it if we paid $7,000. Obviously, that was not in our contract. So our contract was with Avendra, National Sales. I contacted them immediately to say, hey, there's an error here. We're obviously not going to be paying an additional $7,000 to ship that. Is it something that we can go pick up? And because it's only about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. And they said that wasn't the issue. It was when it was shipped by Jacobson, wherever it was located originally, from the manufacturer to Baker Equipment, who was kind of the middleman in it. And so our contract states that we paid it for it in full. There was no additional freight charge. So Avendra and Jacobson and Baker are working that out right now. And the last update that I got was they're in the process of negotiating. So we're out of the loop on that as far as owing more money, but we do need that mower. And they know the urgency that we need that mower because our current fairway mower continues to need repaired.
And we have paid for that already, is that correct?
It is we have not paid for it yet. It's in. No, we have not paid for it yet.
Invoice because we haven't received it.
Okay.
This is basically our vendor, who's our buying cooperative, the one that quoted it, and the contract was with them. And there is an issue. Someone's trying to play with freight on the backside.
Okay.
Yeah,
It has nothing to do with. Yes, we could drive to New Philadelphia and pick it up, but then somebody would go to jail for theft because we're not allowed to do that yet.
Okay.
And that's what it is.
Well, and there's a lot of that going on right now. A lot of people being held hostage over freight costs and things like that. So,
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for bringing it up.
Andy, anything else?
I don't have anything else unless anybody else has anything they want to ask me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I apologize for the craziness tonight. We did something we don't normally do, which was have a session before the board meeting got started. And every time we get out of our regular comfort zone, there's always room for something crazy to happen. And so far it's happened. I was standing in the parking lot waiting to be notified when you guys were sitting in here waiting on me. So,
Well, because you had you recused yourself
Yep.
from the prior meeting.
Yep.
So
Let's go to the president's report next. As we wind down this current year, I'd like to remind everybody that the annual meeting is next weekend. If you haven't already done your electronic or absentee ballot voting, please come up to the meeting itself and vote there in person. I would say that at last check, it looked like the registration for the electronic and absentee was rather light. There aren't real sexy things on the ballot this year, so that may be part of the reason. But every person that's thrown their hat in the ring deserves to have, your support or your vote. And it does matter. So, some of the things that we accomplished over the year were obviously the special election that we held, which took quite a while to put together and execute on the front end of the year. We also had and are on the tail end of a situation with the range that did take a month longer than probably we had originally anticipated. we were able to look at and gain support for locking down some what we call green space lots in Hideaway Hills this year. We have got a ton of building permits that went on throughout the year and are still going on. Last time I asked this question, and Chris, you're here. Do you know how many current ones we have? I think it was like 37. Yeah, it's in double digits, let's say, and some of the things that have to be looked at and analyzed and taken care of prior to the actual breaking of ground take a lot of time and effort from our ACC committee, and also is a huge time not waster, but a time user to our office staff. So it's when we've got this many going on at one time, it takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of teamwork to get them executed. We do currently have a couple openings that I want to make sure I include in my president's report. We currently have an opening on the management committee by virtue of Rex leaving us at the end of this month. We do have one person that's thrown their hat in the ring and sent us a resume that looks promising, but anybody else that thinks they may want to throw their hat in the ring, please feel free to do so. We have another member of the management committee that's currently running for the board. Should he get elected, we're going to have 2 openings. So, and we also have an opening with our Activities for Youth committee, as our current chair has resigned. So please, if you have any interest in either one of those positions, feel free to reach out to myself or Linda Hodge. As we wind down the summer, we're dealing with a lot of the same problems that we deal with every summer, with the increased traffic through the hills and people that are unfamiliar with Hideaway that come through. And I'd like to continue to urge everybody to please watch your speed when you're in Hideaway. The speed issue is hitting us on multiple fronts this summer. We have got a situation where we've had numerous complaints about people not adhering to the no wake zones on our lakes in the coves. I urge you, if you are new to boating, or even if you're not and you haven't read the boating rules in some time, please do so. We've got approximately another month to go, and we need some help on that front. One thing I did confirm as I attended the management meeting last week was that we have had regular compliance with our lake patrol being there when they should be there. There's a schedule that dictates they be there Thursday through Sunday. Thursday and Sunday are spent, a portion of the time is spent doing dock checks and checking for stickers and lot numbers and things of that nature. And obviously Friday and Saturday are just pure patrol the lake, but they can't be everywhere. And they're only there for a window of time. And of course, we're out on the lake before and or after when they're out there patrolling. So we really do rely on everybody just to adhere to the speed and the no wake zones on a regular basis. Last but not least, we've had an incredible amount of work in the team that's taken on our new operating system search for this year. Those of you that are unfamiliar with past attempts to find a vendor that we could purchase and or use a system from as it relates to the way that we run Hideaway Hills and some of the things that, as I said, we need to get us upgraded to the 90s on. But these guys have spent hours and hours and hours of work on the phones and in their spare time and together I wish I could have been more involved in every one of them. I jumped in on as many as I could. But what Annie's going to present to us a little bit later on in the meeting is great stuff, and a lot of it can help us streamline our operations, and we look for good things with it. If you spend any amount of time in our office, you would know that a lot of the phone calls and the correspondence that comes into the office are questions that can be answered by looking on our club website, which I don't think gets as much traffic as we had hoped for. But also, the system that we're using or that we are proposing that we purchase to put into play can really can help those people that have the wherewithal to go on and use it to register guests and do things like that. So I don't want to steal Annie's thunder. Last but not least, as we head into next week's meeting, we will be electing new officers, and I appreciate everybody's support throughout the year. And I look forward to 2023, a good 2023. Where we can continue to carry out some of these initiatives that we've got in play right now. Linda, you've got a couple that are currently in play, and those are great things too. And I'm glad that we, even though we've had a turnover at the president and the vice president position this year, that we have continued to stay the course with some of these other initiatives that were in play prior to me taking control of the board. So thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, let's move to committee business and reports. I kind of got in front of myself, but I do want to say that we do need great, good, qualified people to work with our current management team. And if you've got that kind of experience, business experience, you don't have to be an expert on every subject, that being finance or asphalt, or you just need to have a good business head on your shoulders and be a team player, because a lot of the things that you see happen in Hideaway Hills are a byproduct of the management committee and the teamwork that goes on there. So feel free to jump in and join the fun, if you will. That being said, I think you've got a couple of fun requests, but we'll go around the room now like we do every month. Eric, do you have anything?
I do. I have the airport committee has a few things they'd like to have approved. First off is they would like to move their September 9th stargazing event to September 30th. Apparently the 9th is a full moon and a bad time to look at stars. So did I get that right? Okay, so I'd like to go move that event. I'd like to make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Eric to move the airport stargazing event from 9:09 to 9:30. Seconded by Cabot Ray. Any conversation? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The next thing, the airport committee would like to sponsor the Artista Rock School of Logan to perform a concert on September 24th in our amphitheater. There's about 15 kids or so. And they'd like to be able to spend up to $500 to put this on. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the Artista Rock School of Logan on September 24th to perform and approve up to $500 to do so from the airport committee funds.
I don't need to repeat all of that. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Tim Weibel. Any conversation? If you haven't seen these guys, they're fantastic.
Is this the group that opened before that band when we were on the water that one year?
Yeah. You just couldn't hear them very well.
Yeah, but no,
Yeah.
they were really talented.
Yeah, they are very good.
High school kids.
I've seen them before, and they're something special. So we got a second by Tim. Any conversation? What songs they're playing? Anything like that?
Requests.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I have one more request from the airport committee, and forgive me, but Lynette just sent this to me, so I'm going to try to get this right. I asked her to be here in case there was any questions. But on October 21st, they'd like to have an event on the lake where they put water lamps out and float and create a canvas on the lake. They are biodegradable and there's no cost to do so. That's the information I have. And that's why I asked Lynette to be here in case anybody had any other questions about that. But so I'd like to make a motion to approve October 21st for a water lamp event on the lake.
Can I just ask one question about that? Obviously, that's great because they're not going up in the air.
Right.
Do you know any idea how many lamps we're talking about would be out there?
Well, they run about $30, I think, for a pack of 100. So I was thinking we try to get maybe 200. It's the night before they extract the boats. I thought it could even turn into a nice tradition. You know, people will be out boating. Anybody that's on the side of the lake that wants to have a lantern could, and everybody sets off their lanterns in the lake. And obviously, the burn factor, you know, fire factor is pretty small because it's on the water.
And they are biodegradable. You said biodegradable, so they're going to break down quickly in the lake.
Are you looking for funds requests too, Lynette?
No.
No.
I would say-
So Lynette, have you mentioned this to Lakes?
No, I haven't. Would
Okay.
you like me to try and collaborate with them?
It might not be a bad idea. I
We
mean,
always e-vote on this pretty quickly.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do
Yeah,
that.
we'll
I don't
be-
mind- I don't mind collaborating. I just know they're busy, so.
The only thing I was thinking, this is the day before the pontoons
Vote,
come
yeah, that's
out.
what she said.
Would anything be like left of them? That's the only thing I was thinking, if they're taking the
You know what, I'm not
pontoons out.
100% on that, but I can certainly dig into that. I did look up, you know, if there's any hazards, and I couldn't find anything. Now, the ones that float, I found a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But they're called water lamps or river lamps. I couldn't find anything. But I can find out.
Maybe check on that, just because there's a lot of activity when those
Maybe I'll
boats
get
are
a pack and we can just try
coming.
it,
Yeah, it's a good idea.
you know, put a couple in the water.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
yeah, and to Linda's point, I mean, this is something we can throw out and vote on in a couple hours. So, yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
I have one more quick thing, if we're done with that. And this is tied to Friday night. It's not necessarily airport committee. Chris Booth had Mark Pennington scheduled to play at the clubhouse. Did not realize we were having this big event, so we decided it would be great if we could move Mark down to the shelter house. And Chris and I are going to split the cost, so we're not asking for any funds, just approval to have him play down there. He'd play from like 8 to 11 probably.
I have to find out if it's available.
Yeah, if the shelter house available, I don't see why not.
Well, it's
Well,
an
it's
event, so
yeah.
it should be available.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same night as the
Okay.
balloon event. So,
Okay.
What was the date, Lynette?
That's this Friday, August 19th.
Okay.
That's why I jumped up and threw that in there because I'm sorry, this literally
Okay.
just happened on my way
Okay.
here. So,
is that something we really need to vote on? I mean, we didn't vote to have Mark Pennington at the clubhouse to begin with, right?
No.
I guess it can't
We
hurt,
got
right?
The area reserved for the stuff.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Might as well vote on it when we're, right? Just-
Well, then we'll vote.
Make a motion to,
Eric made a motion.
yes.
I second that motion. We're in.
Wait,
Okay.
we haven't voted yet.
Yeah, well, we got to vote. Any
All
more
in
dis-
favor?
Do we know the cost?
There's no.
No cost.
If she's splitting the
$200.
cost.
yeah, Chris and I are going to split the cost.
Chris,
So we just have to approve her funds for,
to spend $200.
Yeah.
We do need to do that.
Okay.
We need to,
Oh,
I
you
think,
need to use the shelter house?
no, to pay
to
Mark
pay
Pennington.
for Mark Pennington. If it's coming out of airport committee
No,
funds,
that's what I'm saying. I'm personally out of my own.
Oh.
pocket.
Oh,
okay.
then we do not need to do that.
Chris,
Nope,
and
we're good.
it's out of Chris's pocket too, not the clubhouse.
Okay.
So we are each personally going to split the cost.
that works.
So we're back to the original
Yep.
where Eric made a motion, I believe.
To approve Mark Pennington playing down there?
Yep.
Is that?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Tim, you seconded?
I seconded it.
Okay, Linda seconded in it. Do we have any other conversation? All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
It's official.
And that's all I have. Jess.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Yep. Okay, Tim.
Yeah, I just have a last minute request here. I need approval for the golf committee to reimburse Cheryl Mendokas $16.95. This is for items purchased for the golf appreciation happy hour that was, I believe, on July 27th.
Okay, Tim has made a motion to reimburse Cheryl Bendokis $16.95 for supplies associated with the golf happy hour. Correct?
Second.
Seconded by Eric Lapp. Any conversation? All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion carried.
That's all I have.
That's it. Linda Lonziger.
Nothing.
Woo, okay. Ms. Hodge?
nothing.
Wow. Cabot?
I like to stay right with that nothing concept this particular month. We're good.
Wow. Okay.
She's gonna break.
Annie?
Yeah, I'm gonna break it, sorry. Nothing for organic garden, but for social committee, I'd like to make a motion to approve paying out of social committee funds $1,097.93 to Pro Forma Albrecht for HAH swag, $135 to the lodge for gift cards for the band meals, and $100 to the Paul Bryant and Kentucky Border Band for the balance of the cost for the August concert.
Okay, say those dollar amounts one more time.
$1,097.93 for pro forma.
Right.
$135 in lodge gift cards. And $100 to Paul Bryant and the Kentucky Border Band.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Cabot Ray. Any other conversation? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That's it.
Done.
Nothing. We're clear.
Wow. We sailed right through
That
that.
was a record.
Linda, you don't have anything else to add to that?
No.
Okay, let's move to open forum.
Nobody who wants to talk.
Okay. We're not gonna know what to do with ourselves.
Okay, this has been circulated twice in the Echo. And so now we're voting to approve. I'll read this again. HH member David Petty, lots 2016, 17, and 18, Montezuma, requested a variance to section 300.01 of the Hideaway Hills Building Code because he could not meet the 25-foot minimum front lot line building setback requirement. David Petty's requested a variance in order to have the front of the new dwelling located 5 feet from the front lot lines. The lots are located at the end of a circular cul-de-sac. We had no member comments on this. So I would move that we approve the variance to for lots 216, 217, and 218.
I second.
Motion made to finalize and vote on the Petty variance request by Linda Hodge, seconded by Linda Lonzinger. Any conversation?
Real quick, but once he ends construction or whatever, ACC will do a site visit to actually approve this, the placement of the building.
It
They
is,
were already there once.
Foundations.
yeah, my understanding that that is
Already there.
an occurrence that happens on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Well, we're voting to approve
The variance.
a variance, and apparently that's not necessary because the foundation's already in. Has ACC approved it, or they agree with this approval?
We unanimously recommend approval. of
Okay,
the variance.
that's all I wanted to know.
That's good.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next up, the final vote for the ACC language change pertaining to 6 months permits and fines. Linda Hodge.
Okay. I would, I think, Lonsinger, you want to do that yours first? Or do you want me just to?
I can do mine first. So you'll see on the agenda that I was going to address the proposed changes by the ACC to the section maps, plans, and permits. It's run 2 cycles in the ECHO. It is ready for vote. However, the ACC has asked that one sentence be removed. That's in section 700.00 under definitions. And in that definition, earth tones, there was a word mat. So what they want to do is request that the entirety be approved minus that sentence regarding matte finish. And the reason for that is there was some discussion, and it may not be exactly what they need, nor were some members pleased with it.
So in essence, you're saying if we strike that section
Right.
of the request that's run 2 cycles in the ECHO, that you would want to move forward without having to run the 2 cycles in the ECHO and 2 open meeting requirements as well.
Because we're just we're eliminating one of the proposals. Everything else remains the same. And that's in section, again, 700.00 regarding earth tones.
So you're making the motion first to remove that mat from
Yes.
700.
Yes, I'd like to make the motion to remove the matte finish in 700.00.
I'll second that.
Okay, so motion made by Linda Lonzinger to remove the matte finish verbiage in the 700 section
That was proposed.
that was
earlier.
proposed,
Yeah.
that is run in the ECHO, seconded by Linda Hodge. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The second part of this is to then get a final vote on, I'd like to make a motion to approve the remainder of maps, plans, and permits. So.
Sections 200 and 700.
Okay. Okay, so motion made by Linda Lonzinger to approve the language associated with maps, plans, and permits, sections 200 and 700.
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Was that Doug?
Yes.
Seconded by Doug Parker. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Can we make sure that we have whatever will now become that?
That new, the maps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
okay.
think we do have that in your packet.
And on our website.
And it should also go to Ginger to have in the ECHO, because this will be a final change so that everyone can see exactly what it is, but has been now approved by the board. Chris, did you?
Will you make sure Ginger has that? Or,
Actually, we already have, it's in the packet. If you can get that, Hodge.
Just
to-
the new language, not with everything scratched out, just what the new language will say or
With the
everything.
mat taken out.
Just with the mat taken out.
Okay,
What you have in your packet has that line removed.
Yeah, I know.
okay.
That's why I just,
It's the
Okay.
whole line that gets removed.
yeah, that's the proposal regarding matte finish.
Yep.
Yeah.
But what's in your packet does not have that line.
And
Yeah.
it's
So that is what you'd be voting.
That's right.
okay,
Gotcha.
Okay.
all right. Now, do you have the change to the 6-month permits and fines? Or is that?
Well, let me go to that next. The 6-month permits and fines you have in your packet. And it has run 2 cycles in the ECHO. We've had no comments on it, and we would like, I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
Okay, so we have a motion made by Linda Lonzinger to approve the final approval and vote on the ACC language referencing 6-month permits and fines.
Yeah, and you'll see 200.01, 200.09, and those are the changes that are proposed in that section.
Okay.
Sections.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Annie Kerrigan. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we need to reaffirm the e-votes. Mary Beth?
I'll do that for her.
Okay.
Okay, we'll start with the 8 O's. 721, approve the golf committee to reserve the clubhouse pavilion for Friday, 7/29/22 from 5 to 7 for a golf committee happy hour with expenses not to exceed 200. 721, approved up to 600 for Club X championship trophies for the golf committee from the golf committee funds. 711, allow airport committee to pay $250 deposit on hot air balloon ride and pay $2,600 to balloon company on the day of the event with up to $1,200 out of committee funds and the balance from donations. 721, approve up to 500 for the purchase of gravel for the new cart path from golf committee funds. 726, approve reimbursement to Greg Patassin for $171.80 from the garden committee funds for food at the Garden Fest. 728, approve $204 from TNR funds to neuter cats. 82, approve reimbursement to Drake Reese for $84 from garden committee funds for spraying tomatoes. 82, approve reimbursement to Greg Patassin for $366.04 from garden committee funds for the well pump and fuel for the weed burner. 89, approve $86 to Paul Bauer from the Lakes Committee funds for a new sign about geese fence on the beach. And 810, approve Saturday, August 27th, room for kids painting for the Lodge Artist Corner and up to 200 for supplies. Now the 7 and 0. 729, approve November 5 at 9 a.m. for the Lake Run for Health and Wellness Committee. 727, approve kite making from 5 to 7 and kite flying from 7 to 9 at the airstrip and stargazing with funds from donations and airport funds on October 9th. 725, approve reimbursement to Steve Cundiff from HH operating funds for range-related items in the amount of $701.96. 60, approve, this was 728, approve food trucks for the concert on the cover on September 4th from noon to 3 p.m. And then this was a 511 vote, relocate balloon event from airport to dam shelter house. I think I got them all.
So is that a motion?
These were already approved.
Okay, so those are already approved. We're good to go on those?
You have to make a motion. to
Okay.
accept.
I make a motion that we accept the e-vote.
I will second that.
Motion made by Linda Hodge to accept the e-votes she just read, seconded by Cabot. Ray, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We had you under new business topics for the vacate easement request. You've already done that, right?
Yeah, we
Okay.
had the agenda. And,
Okay.
Annie did it.
Okay, we did have a request from Gail Donahue to plant a memorial tree in honor of Bunny Bauer on the lawn in front of the lodge. I wanted to vote on this tonight, but I also know that we are seriously considering, because of the lodge electrical rework, proposing that we put another traffic pattern in play here in front of the lodge. It wasn't ready to go for tonight's meeting. The management committee asked me, they showed me a picture of the proposed or the the proposed traffic pattern. And if I could describe it, it would be taking the road that goes right in front of the lodge and rerouting it so that it goes in front of the lodge post office around to where the dumpster is and then back out onto the road. The reason being is because the generator that's proposed for the lodge is going to take up a bigger footprint than they originally thought, and the way that it has to be set and anchored is going to possibly impede the road. That led to some further conversation about what we would do with some of the parking that is in the area that the proposed road would go on, and that may impact the grassy area in front of the lodge. So all of this is proposed. So you know,
Was this proposed?
it's in consideration in design. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so this was in front of the lodge, not the chapel for Bunny.
Correct.
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
So yeah.
She worked here all the time.
So, well, I think that, you know, this will probably pass muster with the board. I assume I would want to make sure that we know what areas will be available. So I'll ask, we'll reach out to Gail and ask her if we can hold off on that while we're looking at some of this other stuff. And if it can be, you know, worked out where we don't have to do this, that's what the management committee's in the process of taking a look at for us. Okay? That leads us to unfinished business and the technology purchase vote, which we'll turn over to Annie Kerrigan.
So Linda was kind enough to help me out, and she has the presentation we were going through. She had it because we did this last week for the management committee, as Rick mentioned. So it's
We've got about 600 plus package deliveries a week, and 1,100 to 1,200 a week during holidays, which is huge. Visitors and guests, I called Randall earlier this week. It was a Monday, and asked him how many call-ins he'd had that day. He said 40, and it was really a slow day. During holiday weekends, they may average 250 calls of us calling in guests and friends. We've got really limited historical document tracking or retrieval. Just as an example, number of boats that we have registered or watercraft registered. I asked, because I wanted to see if there was a trend of more every year. So I asked the office, we only go back 1 year. So we don't know how many we would have had registered 5 years ago, because it's very much a paper system. No member emergency notification. All of you remember the ice storm. We had no way really of getting a hold of people. Fairly static and underutilized website, no real-time monthly calendar of events, which members have really requested. You know, how do I know when the pool's open, what the hours are? This would give us the opportunity of updating that. So in real time, you would get the information. So yeah, thank you. So what do we get with technology platform? Simplified receipt and notification of packages, where they would be able to scan in the packages. You would then, on your phone app, you would get an indication that you have a package ready, so they wouldn't have to call you once, or in some cases multiple times. Automated member registration of guests. You would sign them in on the app. It would go automatically to security. Broader, more timely communication we'd have options of email, text, and voice that we could send to people, which also gives us that emergency broadcast system. A workflow engine that could be utilized for things like ACC requests and permits. Access to directory documents that would be in a more timely fashion. Asset management, shift logs, ultimately to help security maintain records. Vehicle registration, sticker requests, work order, and ultimately payment handling. Not where we would begin, but it does have the capability, which is the thing that I was telling the management committee when I was running for the board. The most frequent question I got asked by new members who were younger was, why can't I pay automatically like I pay of every other bill? And I think as we get younger people, we're going to get more and more requests like that. So click away there, Rex.
I would add while we're waiting to switch slides that just the amount of vendors that we had to engage on this project is far and away many more than there were available when I tried to tackle this on my last tenure with the board. At that particular time, we struggled to even find two. One of them was just not viable, and once we engaged the other, they decided to get out of the business. So
You're actually going to see that in just a second of how
Yeah.
many we went through. Here's just the team. This was largely spearheaded by Annie. I was involved a bit. Chaz, Julie Evans did a lot of work. Rex was involved, and Andy was very involved. And then we got input from security, the office, and maintenance as well. You want to click, Rex? Yeah, move it down there one. No, just go to the next.
There you go.
There we go. Okay.
Why don't I speak and you run the
All right. As Chaz just said, there were only two a few years ago. We looked at 15. So they started by the 15 primary vendors out there, went through an initial evaluation. We narrowed that down pretty quickly. They did to the top 4 because some of them simply didn't meet all of the needs that we had. So we narrowed it down to 4: Building Link, Concierge Plus, Condo Control, and ONR. Did vendor demos, had the committee rating each of them on a 5-point scale. Field narrowed from there down to 3. We eliminated Building Link. Then we vetted them heavily for details about the company, customer base, support plan, data management, security, privacy. Finally got it down to 2 finalists who were very close, Condo Control and ONR. Then we did calls. They did calls with customers that actually use them to find out what their thoughts were. We did a cost comparison. And when it came all the way down to it, decided that Condo Control would be the best solution for Hideaway. And we actually asked them, we didn't particularly like their name, Condo Control. They don't do just that. They have a much broader, but that's where they started with their name. So here are just the criteria that we evaluated on. I don't think I have to go into depth on all that. It was typical office things, members, payments, security, package handling, how to track and manage our assets, the ACC, board minutes, Article 9s, the meeting calendar, meeting notes, so it's capable of doing all of that. And we actually assigned a point value to each of these for all of those criteria. This Condo Control that we're recommending, 9 states, 3 countries, 2,000 client properties, 500,000 users. The contact centers are in Toronto, Vancouver, New York. Nice, they have full-time support team for technical issues. They also have live phone-based support and a ticketing system. We would get a dedicated customer service manager. And I was incredibly impressed that they have.
Hold this while I walk outside a minute so I can get this to load.
Looks like
Mary Ellen, you might want to mute
Mary
yourself.
Ellen's Kramer.
Is it okay if I get this one? What are you smiling about?
I was unmuted. That's fine.
What I was really impressed with is they have 99% uptime and have had no major outages in 13 years. So they're pretty reliable. They're cloud-based, and the user references we got were really, really good. And I think that the customers, the users, were really honest with us about things they liked, which was most all of it, and very little that they had concerns about. The training they would do typically takes 2 to 4 weeks, kind of varies on complexity and how many documents we would need to upload. They do the training on Zoom, ongoing webinars. They have user discussions for people if they want to talk about what they would like the system to ultimately do in the future. And they said the typical transition's about 30 days from the start of onboarding.
Is there member training, or is that even needed?
It's a good question, Eric. I think we would do some member training.
Yeah,
but
I don't remember specifically how much member training they have, but we did ask them if members would, like when we talk about 24/7 support, members can call them for things. So I gotta imagine there's training, but we'll check into
I
that.
would hope to be that too.
Yeah, it's pretty
I
straightforward.
think it is, but I think we could offer that because we may have some people that are not, you know, struggling with remote control like I do at times. But yeah, and I don't think that would be tough for us to do.
Especially the areas that affect the residents. You know, I don't know
Yep.
so much that the average resident member is concerned about the maintenance stuff, but
Yep.
all the other security, packaging, how to do it. Yeah.
They would also train, they'll train the office, they'll train us if we want. So we can tell them who we want to have trained. We can also assign administrator privileges to who we want.
Mhm.
So there might be, for example, maybe committee chairs can go change the calendar, which would be great. So we would recommend a phased implementation. This can do a lot, and we obviously would not want to throw it at everybody at one time. So we were thinking, but we could still discuss this, maybe the website, visitor registration, the package handling, which will be big, and maybe some of the ACC workflow as a starting point. And here's the cost. It's a one-time setup of $9.99. We were able to negotiate. It was originally $14,850. Got it down to $13.50 if we sign a 2-year contract with them. Which, if my math is correct, that comes up to like $20 per. We talked about 750 units. So is that math right? About $20 per
I'd have to go look at it.
home, I think,
Yeah, that sounds right.
a year.
Yeah, that's about right.
And so, for in terms of the money, are you going to cover the first year and the second year?
So if you could go back one, Rex. Yeah.
Because that was discussed during the management meeting as
Yeah,
well.
so what Julie had proposed, and I think Rex reiterated this tonight, the first year cost, that $13.50 that we would pay in 2022 would come out of capital. And then next year's payment would come out of operating. It would go into the operating budget.
To be included in the 2023 budget.
Correct.
So, right.
Yeah. And the reason we're voting on it is because even though the individual yearly cost is under 15,000, which they have the purview to approve, it's actually because we're signing up for 2
The
years,
in
we're
aggregate
committed
cost,
to
yeah.
the aggregate cost.
Yeah.
So that's why
Yeah.
we have to bring it.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So we just looked at some of the current expenses we have. SendGrid's what we do with eBlast. There's Wix, the Access database. We pay the consultant $150 an hour. You know, and then looked at what do we think we're going to need to do. We don't know how much those things would cost, but our website really needs to be redesigned. It's basically paper online. It's not interactive at all. I looked up emergency notification systems and was shocked that they range from 89 cents per user per month to $10 per user per month, which if you add that times the number of people we would be needing to send those emergency notifications to, it's astronomical. And then I looked back too, Eric Boysko and Ginger did a really nice assessment of package handling a year ago in June. And they found that if we went with Amazon apartment lockers, our cost is $32,000 to $56,000, depending on how many. And if we purchased our own, it's $50,000 plus a $350 a month maintenance fee for the lockers. So, you know, even if you looked at us doing something different with package handling, it's way more than this new technology plus all the other things we get from that.
You know, I thought about that. I mean, that doesn't change our current footprint as far as where we actually house the packages. So I don't want anybody to get a misunderstanding that, you know, it's, you
It
know.
does not.
Yeah.
What it,
Notification.
Yeah.
Right, right.
it prevents security from having to call people once, twice, or sometimes
Right.
3 times that you have a package.
Yep.
And the other issue, that facility seems to be handling the traffic. Now, the holidays are coming
Yeah.
again, which will be the big test. But at this point, we don't think we need more structure, more brick and mortar to hold the packages.
This time, no request for that.
Okay.
The hope is this will clear them out
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
These
sorry.
are just questions and answers that came
Yeah.
from management, but that's really the gist of what we wanted to share.
So that was really fast. So if you want to see the whole presentation, I'd be happy to send it to you, but I'm looking at the clock and it's 8:15 and
So tonight we are looking for the board to approve moving forward. The overall 2-year cost is $27,000.
Thank you. I was looking for my.
$27,099. So, do we have any other further questions? This is a big commitment. This is a huge commitment.
I just
So-
have a comment. I'm in favor of it. And will vote to support it, but I really hope that we have a way to. I'm in favor of this initiative and I'm going to vote to support it. My only concern is that we have some way to educate our members.
Right.
And I don't know how we do that, but I think that with new technology, a lot of times we need education.
Maybe a video or
Yeah.
something could be made. that
One
could
of
be
the
put
things that I
online.
shared with
That'd be
Andy,
smart.
not just the fact that I recommended a phased approach, but that that I would be heavily involved in helping them implement
Uh-huh.
because I have the time to do it now. And a big part of that is communication
Yeah.
to membership about, hey, this is coming, here's what to expect, here's how it works, all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Well, and plus, what we're looking at here isn't an insurmountable type of situation as far as being able to engage it and use it.
Yeah.
It's friendly.
Yep.
It's, so while there will be some degree of training, we're not asking folks to become computer programmers. We're going to educate them on how to get in and navigate through the system and it, from everything that I've seen and talked to you guys about, it is friendly, right?
Yep.
So,
Maybe a little video like you suggested.
Video, maybe have an open house down here in the great room, members can come and
Yep.
you or whoever goes through the basics.
well, Andy and I have both done a fair amount of computer training. So putting together some videos and things like that would be,
well, I wouldn't think it would be outside the realm of being able to have an actual workstation set up. So if somebody wanted to actually meet you and come in and navigate through the system, that's pretty much standard protocol. And,
Yep.
and I wouldn't think that would be too hard to do. So,
This is going to be our member management system. It's going to replace the access system,
No, it
which
won't.
is, we're still going to use access to
We weren't,
do our billing
most
and
of
all
the
that?
things we're using from this aren't done in the Access database. Some of the things this can do could replace some of the things in the Access database, but what I told Andy was that it would be up to him what he wanted to do with that longer term.
and I had the exact same question during the management committee meeting.
Okay.
And I would think there would be a degree of paralleling
We would
before we would cut over anything.
Yeah,
But it
Can't this
doesn't.
take that over somewhere along the line. I mean, because
I think so, yeah.
Access is certainly something on the out.
yes,
We need
it
to
is.
Be worried about that.
Without question. Plus, it's
So what's going to be our solution going forward on that, if this is not that solution?
well, if you noticed in that presentation, one of the cost components that we saw was it replacing the cost, the $150 an hour and the of the Access database support
Yep.
that we currently have.
Yeah. Long,
Um,
hopefully too, that a lot of the things that we've asked this consultant to add to the Access database so that we could run reports, we wouldn't add to that Access database. We would add it to this system and use their reporting system. And a lot of what we have used that consultant for is that, just generating new reports for the office. The 7,500 cost that we put in there was what it cost us for her to, I think it was her that did it, but she rewrote it a few years ago when we had lost the person that previously supported that database.
that's happened frequently with us. I think one of the other, and I don't know that I heard you say this during the presentation, you may did have, and I missed it, we own the information here, which is huge in these endeavors. It can always come to a matter of push comes to shove, and us owning the information contractually is huge as it relates to this.
We own it and they don't delete. I mean, they will store everything until we tell them if we want something deleted.
But back to access, I mean, that still is a concern of mine, and the way that it's supported, because it's been on shaky ground for quite some time, and it has actually cost us not necessarily monetarily, but it has cost us time and effort to recreate things in the past. So I mean, I really think we need to look at it making sure that we've got a reputable vendor that can support us in that endeavor until we're in a situation where we can possibly wean ourselves off of it and over onto this other system. And I would suggest we don't drag our feet trying to find that individual, because that's huge. So
I guess I'm still confused then. So we have everything, how we manage this club through the Access database. That handles all of our billing, all of our contact information, everything for each member. This new system is not going to replace that. And is it not going to replace it down the road?
So it will replace some of what's in there, because we do maintain like vehicle registration and things like that. We would want to move this to the new system. But honestly, a lot of that I want Andy to work through with his office and make sure they're comfortable with moving some of that things. It's main things we're starting with.
Okay. I get your phased approach.
Let me just finish. Yeah. Is to do the things, automate the things that we do on paper and by phone in that really slow way. We don't have any way to keep track of when we've done maintenance on all of the assets we own. We talk about, just bought a new mower. Well, we don't keep track of records when we do any of that stuff today. They can do that now. We can, as we mentioned, send better communication to members about when they get packages. We can take that off of security's plate for having to be on the phone so much. We can take them off the phone. I forget how many phone calls you had in there for just saying, hey, I've got a visitor coming in. It's alleviating a lot of the work that they're doing today and going to make them more efficient.
Yep. Clearly.
That's what I'm getting at is I realize we're not doing it right now, but will this be something that we can add that capability of the access system into this? Then it makes sense to me. If it's not something that we're going to be able to go full time with, then I guess that's where I question whether this is a good investment. If it's something that we can do, add on down the road, then I think it's a good idea.
So I can tell you we can, Eric, but you've got to get your staff comfortable with that.
I'm not saying doing it tomorrow.
I'm just saying that.
I just want to know that down the road, that's something we can move towards.
Ultimately, this should do everything we need to have done.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So access will
Pretty
be replaced.
robust.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would also think that, in order to get the staff comfortable with it, that Andy has some work to do as far as, what he wants it to do in the short and long term. And then also rallying support from the staff to be able to use it on a daily basis. So, and I think we let that rest solely on the shoulders of Andy. That's why we've got him. And I think he's more than capable of doing that. So,
and I'd like to add, Eric, it is going to be a phased approach with our staff. And I'm pretty confident that we can get that phased approach and training for our staff, especially, and for members as well. So, but Annie was right. It's going to be a phased approach where eventually some of the things in Access database will be switched over to this new management software.
Okay. Any other questions? So that being said, I would entertain a motion to vote to spend $27,000 $27,099 over the next 2 years to purchase and begin implementation of a new operating system for Hideaway Hills.
I'll make that motion.
Make that motion, and I'll second that.
Okay, so motion made by Annie Kerrigan, seconded by Linda Lonsinger. Any other further conversation? Eric, you good?
Good.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Something I'd like to say that I said in management, I forgot to say today is this was probably one of the most professional proposals and searches, and y'all did a great job. So
Thank you.
Thank you. That's good stuff.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah, thank you very much. Now the work begins, right?
Yes.
Not that you guys haven't sunk a good amount of time into this, and you know, we have to all be in with both feet on this. Members, staff, board, management committee. This is going to be a collaborative effort. So, okay. New members, Linda Hodge.
All right, we had club owned lots sold 1762 and 1763. New members, Antoinette and Robert Maguda, lots 865 and 866, I guess. Yeah, I think there's a little typo there. Kevin Brainerd, lots 1581 and 1582. Benjamin Kelly and Jamie St. Clair, lots 59 and 60. Richard Sickler and Kelsey Sickler, lots 1762 and 1763. And Aaron Joshua Matthews, lots 1786, 1787, and 1832. So I move to accept the new members.
I will second that.
Motion made to accept the new members by Linda Hodge, seconded by Cabot Ray. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session.
I will move to adjourn to executive session.
Motion made by Linda Hodge. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Annie Kerrigan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.